Good evening, friends.
Good evening.
We are delighted to have you all here in this 29th webinar hosted by IPNet on the topic Practical Difficulties in Voluntary Liquidation. So on behalf of IPNet, I welcome you all. In this seminar, we take pleasure to have with us our distinguished lead speaker, IP Ranjit Kumar Verma. Ranjit ji is also a member of IPNet. I'm sure Ranjit ji sharing your expertise and experience on the topic will add great value to this session. As you all are aware, IPNet is hosting its 29th webinar in a series of webinars organized periodically under the umbrella of IPNet, National Network for Insolvency Professionals. Now, without taking much time, I would like to invite IP Suhasini Ashok ji from IP South to deliver her welcome address. Suhasini ji, kindly do the honors.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. I am delighted to welcome you all for today's webinar on practical difficulties in voluntary liquidation. This is the 29th webinar in the series of webinars organized by IPNet. This is your own platform for sharing knowledge and experiences of the IBC ecosystem in India. We are privileged to have IP Ranjit Kumar Verma, CS, as our esteemed keynote speaker on the topic. Mr. Verma has handled around 10 voluntary liquidation cases, and I'm sure he will throw light on the areas where most of us face practical difficulties in the assignments relating to voluntary liquidation. I extend my special thanks to Shri Ashish Makija, the president of IPNet, for bringing all of us together on this robust IPNet platform. The membership link is available in the chat, and we look forward to those who are yet to join IPNet as the members. IPNet has become a vibrant community for insolvency professionals across India, fostering continuous learning, collaboration, and professional growth. And IPNet is committed to supporting IPs through expert-led learning initiatives like webinars and study groups, practical guidance on IBC-related challenges, and also a dedicated member portal is offered for the comprehensive resources. For those who are already part of IPNet, we thank you for your support and keep continuous support to the IPNet initiative. For others, I encourage you to join this dynamic and ever-evolving network membership. Details are available in the chat. And thank you for all for being here. Let's make this session insightful and rewarding. Now I hand over to Mr. Parag, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Suhasini ji, for the welcome address. And before I introduce you, Mr. Ranjit Kumar Verma, please allow me to play IPNet intro video for 2 minutes. We'll be having a look at the video, and after that, we'll continue with our session.
In the fast-evolving world of insolvency and bankruptcy, professionals need more than just knowledge. They need a strong network, continuous support, and a unified voice. As the challenges of the insolvency profession grow, so does the need for a platform where professionals can come together, share their experiences, and find collective solutions. That's why IPNet was formed. Promoted by Transition, IPNet is more than just a network. It's a mission to unite insolvency professionals across India, empowering them with the tools, knowledge, strong leadership, and community support they need to excel. Our purpose is simple: to create a cohesive community of insolvency professionals that stands strong together, advocates for their interests, and drives excellence in every aspect of the profession. At IPNet, we believe in continuous learning and collaboration. Our activities are designed to ensure that every member stays ahead in their field, from specialized study groups that dive deep into critical topics like CIRP, compliances, and many more, to webinars and workshops that bring the latest insights right to your screen. IPNet is your gateway to professional growth. Backed by Transition, a leader in insolvency training and resources, IPNet is committed to promoting the interests of insolvency professionals. Our goal is to ensure that every IP, no matter where they are, has access to the best resources, strong leadership, and a network that truly understands their needs. Join us in this mission to build a stronger, smarter, and more connected community of insolvency professionals. Together, we can overcome challenges, shape the future of the profession, and make a lasting impact. IPNet, National Network for Insolvency Professionals in India.
Well, friends, moving forward, please allow me to introduce our lead speaker, IP Ranjit Kumar Verma. Ranjit Kumar Verma ji is a company secretary and is running a specialized integrated corporate consultancy firm in solving the complexities in insolvency, valuation, legal compliance, corporate secretarial services, stock exchange compliances, and finance. Mr. Verma, as company secretary, has more than 16 years of experience in these services covered in the entire gamut of corporate consultancy, including compliance and regulatory work. He is involved in conducting secretarial audits for large listed, unlisted companies and public undertakings. He has worked as interim resolution professional and liquidator for companies, including India's one of the leading media company, the Pioneer. He is qualified independent director and holding the post as independent director in listed and unlisted companies. He has been closely working with nationalized banks like SBI, PNB, Bank of Maharashtra, and Punjab and Sindh Bank. He has a rich experience in debt recovery. He has been appearing before NCLT, NCLAT, and RBI, etc. Friends, please join me in welcoming IP Ranjit Kumar Verma as today's lead speaker on the topic Practical Difficulties in Voluntary Liquidation. Over to you, Ranjit ji.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's really an honor for me to present my expertise and sharing my knowledge to this Augusta platform. And really, I'm delighted to inform you that the IPNet is working very great thing, and really providing platform to the members of the IBBI for sharing their experience, and for the members who eager to know the practical difficulties facing during the course of either in CIRP or in voluntary liquidations or liquidations in some key areas. So it's been very great work provided by IPNet, and I'm really thankful to the IPNet to providing the opportunity to the members of the IBBI. I'm already asking for the IBBI to provide a platform where we can ask some difficulties which is not found in our acts or in regulations, or sometimes if we approach to the NCLT, it found a very time-taking process. So this is a great work and great opportunities created by our IPNet. So once again, very much thank you. And now I'm sharing the very actually perhaps the members are taking it very lightly, because in comparison of other CIRP or other mandatory compulsory liquidation, this is looking very easy, but not. This is not easy process, and this is very tough because of no intervention from the court or either some regulatory authority in between the liquidation process. So IP has to do all the process independently. That is why this is much difficult process in my opinion. So let us start the practical difficulties faced by IPs in the course of voluntary liquidation process. Let me share my PPT. Thank you very much once again, all the members who participating and who eager to share some knowledge or face some difficulties. So thank you very much to all dignitaries and participants. Thank you very much. Let me share. One minute. Is it visible?
It is visible. Can you have it full screen? Is it full screen, sir?
Let me check.
Top right, sir. After sign in. Top right, left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Right, sir, you can continue.
So myself, Ranjit Verma, and second thing, full screen होता तो है. Just a minute. Yes. Before going to practical aspects, let me have some basic background of this voluntary liquidation. The first thing is that why this voluntary liquidation process has been enacted. So there is certain mechanism involved before this voluntary liquidation process, and early it was through High Court. There is two provisions available. One is through 248 and one is through High Court. So there is High Court, there is no time-bound process, and not possible to everyone to approach to High Court, and thought of this is not a cost-effective thing. So after the enactment, we have the easy process, and we can approach to the NCLT easily and have a time-bound process. So we need, before IBC companies wanting to voluntarily wind up under the Companies Act 1956 or 2013, there is a procedural delays and yes. There is a procedural delays and inefficiencies, and there was no structured or time-bound process, which often led to companies being stuck in limbo. I already told you that due to lack of timeliness process in High Court and difficulty faced by the members, so that it was the complex process. So that is why we have included section 59 of the IBC and Chapter 5 of the IBBI Voluntary Liquidation Process Regulations 2017. Core objectives behind enactment: ease of doing business, time-bound closures, already told you, creator protections. Creators have a main say on these regulations. Regulatory streamline. Now let us move to another applicability. Who is applicable for this IBC regulation and under provision of section 59 of IBC? Only solvent corporate person can go for voluntary liquidation under section 59. What is the meaning of solvent? The solvent meaning of solvent is that simple, that those who capable of paying its dues, or there is no dues. There's two things: either no dues, okay, there's no creditor involved, no creditors, list of creditors. Yeah, if there is a creditors, the company has funds or in liquid or in some other ways, that can be compensated to the creators. Means all creators can be fully paid off from that funds. And third is that the company must not have committed any default. मतलब आप commitment करके जाके वहाँ पे ये नहीं कर सकते, वास नहीं कर सकते अपने आप को, अपने हाथों को नहीं धो सकते वहाँ पे जाके. If we have a dirty hands, we cannot go for voluntary liquidation. Role of insolvency professional and NCLT. The process is managed by a liquidator, of course, IP. Earlier it was OL. So we are replaced to the OL. And after the completion of process, it is NCLT to see the transparency and adherence to the regulations, right? So I already told you that this is applied to the corporate person who have either no debt, able to pay off debts in full, or intent point of intents also matter. And must not be undergoing any other insolvency process. ऐसा नहीं हो कि आप CIRP में चल रहे हो या other binding में चल रहे हो, आप इसे जंप करके यहाँ आ जाए because of this easy process. No. So अब डायरेक्टर ने मूड बना लिया कि चलो या हम बाइंडिंग अप करना ही है, हमें लिक्विडेट करना है कंपनी को, तो they have a meeting, board resolution passed in board meeting, duly convened meeting. Convened meeting is understood by everyone, I think. And in meeting, the declaration of solvency by directors through affidavits that no pending debts or capable, or if pending debts, they are capable of paying whole, not part, whole of the amount of debt. Mind it, there's no part payment, only if they're capable of whole payment of debt, then only can go to this route. And have to attach audited financial report and valuation report. And after that, we have to call EGM or AGM, whatever member resolution, and member can pass. And the effective date is when the resolution passed through EGM or AGM, मतलब member resolution. मतलब कि आप जिस डेट में EGM पास कर रहे हो, मेंबर पास कर रहे हो, उस डेट से स्टार्ट हो जाएगा आपका, उसके पहले स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट नहीं होता है. All are formalities. So when the EGM, when the resolution pass through members meeting, this is a special resolution passed through members meeting, and where the name of the liquidator, who is the IP, and whose AFA is active on that day. Mind it, please note down that on the date of the EGM, the AFA must be active, okay, and capable of handling this voluntary liquidation process. Already now after appointment of the company, the process of IP liquidator started. So first process is public announcement. So public announcement in two newspaper. First is English and second is local language where the registered office of the company is situated. Okay. So I'm not going to the act. I'm just getting into the main point. I'm reading the main point, and after that, I'll explain the difficulties faced by liquidator. So after public announcement, of course, there is a claim verifications under section 35. 35 is the duty of the liquidator, and 35 to 53 is the provision which is applicable to section 59 also. So the fourth item is claims verification. And there is very short thing. So duties include, first, when we appoint a liquidator, whenever the liquidator appointed, they have to take the all asset into his custodies and settle all liabilities, disposal of assets, and before disposal of assets, they appoint a valuer if there is a fixed asset and do valuation. Okay. And if there is a movable property, so all property should be sold through auctions, and in auction bids invited, and the disposal of assets through the auction of the properties, not through private placement. And after the distribution of proceeds, it's a final report preparations. Okay. And after final reports, this is, we have to approach to the NCLT for the final strike of the company, dissolution of the company. NCLT ordered for dissolutions. Voluntary liquidation must be completed within 12 months. Delays beyond 290 days required additional reporting to NCLT. Let me share X first, then we'll discuss further.
You want to share something on the screen?
Yes, I want to share some X. After that, we'll discuss further.
Can in voluntary liquidation, can we transfer the property in the case of
Yes.
the property if the company have immovable property? Promoters are company promoters of the company do not want to transfer property and distribute the property among themselves, because after all the recovery, the amount is transferred to the shareholders, the stakeholders. In this situation, how will we can transfer the property to the promoters of the company in the capacity of shareholder?
No. In IBC, there is no provision of transfer of property. We have to liquidate this in the through the auction and through bids, and only through bids only.
लेकिन
Cannot do.
बट ऑक्शन जरूरी नहीं है, क्योंकि हमने सारे क्रेडिटर्स को पेमेंट कर दिया, हमारा तो कोई ड्यूज है ही नहीं, तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होना है शेयर होल्डर्स में। तो
But only the form of liquidated firms. There's nothing in कि आप डायरेक्ट ट्रांसफर कर सकते हैं, ऐसा हमने तो नहीं पढ़ा कि आपके पास you can share knowledge, because
someone
we have separate accounts.
someone told me कि property is ultimately given to the stakeholders.
Yes, correct.
जितने प्रोसेस बचेंगे वो सब स्टेक होल्डर्स को जाएंगे। तो अब जैसे जरूरत ही नहीं है उसको, मान लीजिए स्टेक होल्डर्स को देने के लिए अगर फंड्स रिलाइज ही करना पड़ेगा, क्या बेचना ही पड़ेगा प्रॉपर्टी को? ये जरूरी है क्या बेचा ही जाए वो प्रॉपर्टी?
नहीं, देखिए हम तो मतलब प्रोविजन देखेंगे ना, जो एक्ट में क्या प्रोविजन लिखा हुआ है, हम तो अपने मन से कोई काम नहीं कर सकते ना। तो अगर एक्ट में लिखा है कि आप लिक्विडेट करके उसको फंड्स का एसक्यू अकाउंट में ले जाएंगे फर्स्ट, ये तो है ना कि फर्स्ट आपको एसक्यू अकाउंट में ले जाना है पैसे को, तब आप डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे। तो कहीं प्रोविजन ही नहीं है कि आप एसेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हो डायरेक्ट, तो हाउ कैन वी डू दैट? आई एम ओपन टू द ऑल मेंबर्स, because in my opinion we cannot do.
I would like to interfere here. You can
Yes.
transfer the business, and this business can be of property as well as running business. If you see the regulation 35, it clearly mentions if the assets cannot be sold profitably, then that can be assigned to the distributed to the stakeholders. And there are precedents in the voluntary liquidation where assets are transferred to the stakeholders. Glaring first example is of Star Health. So Star Health investments were transferred to the stakeholders and it was not sold, or you can say realized, and amount is deposited into the account. So voluntary liquidation is a very dynamic process, and if it is used properly and analyzed, then corporate structuring is possible. Thank you.
मतलब एक बार तो ट्राई करना पड़ेगा ना. We have to
If
try
sir,
once.
what I understand from your deliberation is, until and unless asset is realized profitably,
Yes.
cannot be transferred. So first of
Yes,
all,
yes.
that step has to be taken.
Correct. Because the process that we have to liquidate the funds and deposit amount to a escrow account. So
ultimately,
in certain exceptional cases,
ultimately, the stakeholders are the persons who are calling the shots. They are passing EGM resolution for commencement of voluntary liquidation. Now, regulation of what you call prescribes and taken cognizance that you can withdraw the voluntary liquidation. In the same way, stakeholder can pass resolution that they don't want to sell the asset, liquidate the asset, realize the asset, but they would like to transfer the asset to themselves only. So this is possible, and there are precedents in the voluntary liquidation. Various benches of NCLT has passed order in this regard.
But in this case, is prior approval of NCLT is required for the transfer of these assets?
Yes, sir.
Yes, see, absolutely. So you prepare,
sir.
we are say it's a process starts from the passing of the special resolution, and special resolution as a shareholder, they are the ultimately say are the wisdom of the stakeholder. It is always in the case of resolution CIRP, various courts have held that it is the wisdom of the creditors. Here in voluntary liquidation, it is the wisdom of the stakeholders, because as we know that generally there are no creditors, or if its creditors are there, they are being paid off or their consent is taken. So stakeholders basically, because it is a solvent company, they are taking the shots, and at their wisdom, this can be done. And as I told you, there are cases and what you call best cases of Star Healthcare, where shares were transferred to the stakeholders. It was not rolled, it was not realized, but yes, investment were transferred to the stakeholders. Thank you.
Please allow me participants to invite Mr. Shankar Panikar to have his expert opinion. It is not obviously not a legal opinion, but I want to have an expert opinion on this particular issue. So far as I understand, until and unless profitable realization is not there, we cannot transfer that. And moreover, anything that we are doing as IP or as liquidator, NCLT has to jump in and we have to take approval from NCLT.
one thing only. I'll add one thing only.
Yeah.
That it might be some of cases in exceptional circumstances, but in my opinion, because of the motive of the case is that to liquidate the company and then go for
Yes.
winding up.
Right. Shankar sir, can
Please.
we have your view?
Yeah, what I understand is the difference between a voluntary winding up and a normal winding liquidation is little different. We don't actually approach honorable NCLT. In normal case, when it comes to a voluntary winding up, you don't approach NCLT in the beginning or in the middle, or we approach only at the end. Now, what happens in the case of voluntary winding up? The presumption is assets are more than liability. Now we are in a unique situation where all the assets are sold and only the business is left, and the stakeholder decides that that particular business is to be transferred to existing person or whatever, whoever it is, based on an informed decision. They have to pass it and then take back to the NCLT for a sanction. This is the process. See, what happens is, what is the presumption of voluntary winding up? Assets are more than liability, number one. Number two, it is not intended to defraud the creditors. All of us know that if at all during the process the liquidator, voluntary liquidator comes up with a situation where he finds that a particular company is being voluntarily wound up for defrauding, there is a provision in the code where at that point of time he can go back to NCLT for the first time and say that, look, the intention is not to voluntary wind up with good intention. Please cancel the voluntary winding up process. So therefore, you cannot, unless otherwise the decision of stakeholder is there, you are not supposed to go to NCLT, or there should be enough reason for voluntary liquidator to go. That is the provision according to me. And of course, the case to case, unless otherwise we know the full facts of the case, discussion of this sort of extreme importance will be wholly incomplete.
Right, sir. Thank you very much. So, sir, Ranjit sir, please move ahead with your presentation,
please.
sir.
So let's move further.
Can I
Yes.
ask one question?
Yes, please.
In voluntary liquidation, whether the transaction audit is required to be conducted, or how the liquidator will know whether there
Actually-
are any forfeit transactions?
Actually, section 35 to 53 is applicable to 59 also. So there is a provision of these preferential transactions and this extraordinary transactions. So wherever this occurs, so I think, in my opinion, this is applicable. So let it remember, please.
How the liquidator who is newly appointed and who has to complete the liquidation in 90 days, how he will know whether there are transactions, such transactions?
No, that's what, madam. According to me, see, liquidator primary job is not to do a process blindly or like a machine. He is to apply mind. See, there is what is the presumption? Presumption is the voluntary liquidator is an independent person. He need not necessarily know about the company before the process is started. Practically, I agree that all those voluntary companies are almost dead or still companies. Therefore, just a funeral process is intended by this particular thing. But what really happens is the code, it is very clearly mentioned, as Ranjit sir said, all those provisions which is applicable to liquidation is also applicable to voluntary liquidation. Therefore, section 43, 45, 49, 50, 66, everything is possible. It doesn't say that voluntary liquidator can skip these preferred transactions. It doesn't say. So in fact, if we read conjoint reading of all these provisions together with the solvency, declaration of solvency, it's presumed that directors are being open, and in the sense they don't intend to defraud. But still, if Act provides that from 33 to 53 is applicable, then it is invariably said that we should presume that code wanted this voluntary process also to go to test the avoidance transaction test also has to be surpassed. Then only it will be voluntary wound up. That's and in fact, I have to cross check at the time of viewing the final report. The compliance also says about this, whether there is any 43, 44, all those things. So it is
You are rightly said, Vaishali ji. Actually, the thing happened that there is a very short period of time, and in this 1 year, we have to do everything, and there is no interference of the court or anything. So if you appoint somebody as a what's considered transitional auditor or like this, so who will govern this, and how can we manage? This is all. There's nothing or no specific guidelines on this, particularly voluntary liquidation. So there might be some practical difficulties for that.
So this is one of the main difficulty that a
Yes.
liquidator normally faces when time is so short and all the provisions which are applicable in CIRP may have to be followed so far as final report is concerned. So this is one of the practical difficulties that we face as voluntary liquidators.
So first thing is that we miss here that starting first process is that we have to make preliminary report. Apart from all this, so we have to make preliminary report very carefully, because the first documents who we shared to the IBY and other forum, apart from our appointment. So please do it very carefully, and let's go further.
But Ranjit sir, when you are talking about timelines, let me ask you one thing. So
Yes.
how as voluntary liquidator, you think 12-month timeline is realistic?
Yes.
Is it so, sir? Is it realistic?
12 months timeline is okay, not achievable time limit. We always achieve before 12 months, and we have some 3-month time, I think. And मैंने देखा है NCLT में कि उसमें आप जाएंगे तो वो exclusion दे देते हैं कभी-कभी beyond that. If you have a very valid reason, they exclude some time. So apart from this time limit, they provide you exclusion. In CIF also, if you go beyond three I think 340 days, I think. So if you go beyond the time limits, they exclude some days. So
So-
they have a power to exclude some days. So don't worry.
Authority, that means are a little bit lenient on in granting exclusion.
Some second is talking about 270 days. I think I'm not aware about this. Earlier it was 12 months. So maybe.
Right.
No. So
But
I think voluntary
in case there are no creditors, the time limit is 90 days, no?
okay.
So
maybe-
we have to can we complete in 90 days? I don't know. I have not handled.
It's not difficult to complete in 90 days.
Means there will not be any claims from creditors, but will there be claims from shareholders? Or no?
Yes, because I did have more than 10 cases, and there's no difficulties to complete in time. If
Okay.
there is no sheet, there
So I
Then
must say,
very easy.
Mr. Verma is very lucky man. But
yeah, indeed there is 3 years time taken by the Jaipur NCLT.
see, there are conflicting provisions vis-a-vis provided timeline provided in the IBC. You see, in Income Tax Act under section 178 2, right, it is provided that detail of arrears of tax can be provided up by the end of 3 months. Now we are running for 30 days in regulation 14.2 for verification of submission of claims from liquidation commencement date, and Income Tax Act says that you have 3 months. So, I mean, if you are completing it in 90 days, is very good. But that conflicting timelines are still there so far as IBC provisions and other act provisions in the other act are concerned.
Thinking about this, there is a much more is going on with IBBI itself. But if there is no assets, so I don't think any hurdle in the process. Basically, NCLT, if you approach to the NCLT, they have a Form H. Form H are filed बढ़िया से. They look Form H is the I'm unable to share the screen. I don't know because I'm not very proficient in system. So अगर आप Form H देखेंगे ना तो उसमें सारा checklist होता है.
Ranjit ji,
Form H.
may I interrupt here?
Please,
Yes,
please.
sure.
I completed near about 6 voluntary liquidation,
Yes.
and in few cases I got some claims also, and little bit critical issue also arise. But within 90 days also we are able to complete the voluntary liquidation as process is very set, and if we follow the process within 90 days, okay. If due to
Correct.
some reason we are not able to close this bank account within 90 days, then we need to just intimate to the NCLT that what is the reason, and we need to take one more general meeting. That's it.
Yes.
Otherwise, more than
We
sufficient.
need to file the cases application to the NCLT before this 90 days.
No.
3 months.
No. 3 months is for the purpose of repayment of the money if anything is there into the bank account. Rest of the things, if any claims are there or any litigations or any government or statutory authority approaches, because many times main hurdle is the income tax NOC.
Yes.
So that's the reason that extra time is required. Otherwise, 90 days is for the repayment.
I would like to intervene that there is a several cases that NOC is not required, but yes, of course, NCLT may ask. NOC at
in
least
this
comes
case,
to
I
Now
think
it is
in this
information
case,
to the
Regulation is very
Sir,
clear.
can-
NOC is not required from the income tax department
Yes.
to under voluntary liquidation.
But they may
in this
ask to
case-
the department, and they asked income tax authorities to appear in the court and give their provide their part.
So instead of NOC, they can ask income tax
Yeah.
department to come forward and present their case before the.
So
Yes.
normally it is like that, on income tax website, there is a demand, tables where all the earlier demand are being shown on the tables. If you can just produce that proof as a proof that there is no demand as on the date, as per the, as per the income tax portal, in that case, even GST also in the similar way. And, nowadays you are receiving the notices from Provident Fund Department, where some earlier employee dues or something minor amount is pending, and then you have to clear it. So all these things has to be kept in mind. But nowadays they are not asking for the NOC, but from department. But definitely you have to keep a proof that as per the portal, income tax portal, there is no due of past year.
Hemant bhai, thank you for clarification. But it differs from the NCLT benches. Certain benches, Mumbai, they are saying that you have to file entire petition with the nodal office in Mumbai. So I agree with you. There is a circular of IBBI that 178 clarification is not required. But again, it is at the whims of the NCLT benches, and they are deciding how to proceed in the matter of income tax. Thank you, Amanda.
In my
I
one of
also
the
agree.
my
I
own
also agree
case,
with them.
in
So
my
in my
one of
matter
the
also,
case,
NCLT is insisting on NOC from income tax. And
Yes.
despite giving NOC, still they are waiting. They want some more confirmation from income tax.
Right.
my own case in New Delhi bench, in King's College case, there is a pending due to NOC from the income tax department, and they are
And-
asking income tax department to come forward and present their case.
And there is a silver lining in this also. I sorry to, but here in Mumbai there is one NCLT bench which is passing Section 59 order in the first hearing itself.
In Chennai bench,
No,
in
no,
our
Mumbai
case,
bench.
just a
Mumbai
minute.
bench,
No, in
one
my
bench.
case, one of my case, in Chennai bench, the court asked to submit NOC. Then we replied that and provide the clarification from IBBI that there is no NOC required. Then they asked to submit the proof that we have to submitted the notice to the income tax department, and without NOC they had provided the order.
So, sir,
So,
looking
in
at
Chennai,
the,
they had provided order.
so seeing this discussion and after hearing every one of you, I think there is lack of standard guidelines in requirement by NCLT as such. There should be some standard guidelines provided by
Correct.
honorable NCLT to
Yes,
us
Correct.
that
Absolutely
Sir,
right.
small question.
this has to be ignored. So this is
Sir.
another practical problem that we all as the voluntary liquidator are facing. So
Specific
far,
circular by IBBI stating that if you require, I can produce it before you. Now also it is available on the internet. It is a circular which is binding on the, ultimately a circular by IBBI is also there, specifically stating that it is not required.
Yes.
So,
We have
somehow
we have submitted
Yes,
that
I
also.
submitted
But
to
the
Yeah.
bench is saying that no, we would like to have that thing.
Correct. I
Uh,
agree with you.
sir,
And
please.
one of the case, bench has categorically went to tell us that you are defaulter in income tax. So how can I trust you? So it is a whims and fancies of
If
the
income tax is
benches.
not turning up, if you are sending notice and income tax is not turning up, then of course they are giving me NOC by default.
Agree with you, but that delays the whole process. That
Yes.
delays the whole process.
So
Because
basically, Dilip bhai, what I can what I am again insisting is because of this lack of standardization in the NCLT benches, entire process is being dragged unnecessarily.
yes,
Right?
yes, sir. But But I would like to again, I am telling you that in NCLT, one particular bench, they are disposing section 59
So,
petitions in
sir,
first
that is why
attempt
I'm
itself.
saying there is lack of standard operating procedures so far as honorable NCLTs are concerned, sir.
Yes, sir.
On
Right,
case
sir.
where
Hemant
ROC
bhai,
has,
just a minute, Ranjit sir.
yeah, please.
Hemant bhai, I request Hemant Mehta sir, I request you to kindly, if you could kindly during this session only post this circular on chat box, it will be of great help.
Sure, sir, sure.
Thank you.
Sir, I have
May I-
one more query with respect to income tax. What happens to the tax liability of the current period? Say a person has sold a property before going for a voluntary liquidation and say the sale value is 5 crore and there is a tax liability of 1 crore rupees and you are not able to file the return. Say you sold the property on 10th of April and now you're going for a voluntary liquidation. So how you pay the tax liability for the current transactions before entering into voluntary liquidation?
So I'll request Shankar sir to kindly take.
You see, the entire voluntary winding up should be structured very, very judiciously. It's not like we handle this like another assignment. For example, a lot of pre-planning has to happen before, if at all we are advising somebody regarding voluntary winding up. For example, what does the declaration of solvency says? What does the board meeting says? Unless the audited balance sheet clearly says there is, if at all it says there is a balance, there is a due to income tax or something, unless you have a clarity, we should definitely stay away from voluntary winding up, number one. If at all we start voluntary winding up, immediately we should write it to the income tax department saying that, look, this company is undergoing this thing, voluntary winding. If at all you have any claim, please claim it before. And we will, according to, as per the declaration, assets of the company will be sufficient to take care of it. In my case where I've handled, I never had assets. I had only assets, but it was said to be sold. So I clearly mentioned to the income tax department, went there, spoke to him saying that, look, sir, if you please claim it, otherwise this is not going to happen. So thereafter, I said, once the asset is sold, I will come back to you. We will pay the capital gains upfront and give you a computation. Thereafter, you should, then he went into the website and found out that this company had some TDS liability before, which was not paid. Immediately I've paid. Thereafter, I've paid the capital gains and gave a computation and gave the tax receipt and everything to the particular person and said that, look, sir, I'm basically is going to wind up the company as soon as you give a confirmation. So please give a confirmation. And end of the day, they gave a confirmation that there is no liability. That are produced before the Honorable NCLT and came out. So what I'm essentially conveying here is, when it comes to voluntary winding up, first of all, before taking up, the board of directors have to be doubly sure that there is no, bombs like this which can blast later on. Number two, as an insolvency professional, when we take up such assignments, we have to inform. And by any chance, if we feel that this is planned move to, to escape the income tax liability by the company, then we have to take in that position. That is my humble view.
So,
Sir, again, I'm taking forward Mr. Panikar's this thing. There is a liability because as we are discussing of a solvent company, then when the assets are distributed to the stakeholders, there are two types of liability on the liquidator. Because if you see that my assets are realized at 200 rupees, my capital is 100 rupees, okay, and reserve is 100 rupees. So as per Income Tax Act, Section 222E, anything distributed to the stakeholder in excess of their, to the extent of reserve is considered to be a deemed dividend. So here, friends, you have to be careful about deemed dividend TDS liability. Earlier, there was a straight provision, dividend distribution tax. So there was no thing, okay, you pay the tax and get out of it. But now the liability on the recipient of the dividend. So now, because of this, there is a typically liability on the part of the liquidator to deduct tax, TDS, on dividend to be distributed, considered distribution. So again, IBBIS amended. IDBBIS in that, I think I have not updated myself, but yes, it is this year IBB has updated and they are seeking information when the liquidation proceeds are distributed, how the tax liability is met with. Thank you.
Actually, practically, in my cases also, whenever we know that we knew that the income tax is due, even at the time of the after submission of the application to the NCLT, the shareholders come forward and pay the tax. Mostly in my cases, shareholder आगे pay कर देते हो कि जाओ ठीक है pay कर दिया हमने, and provide the proof to the NCLT.
So,
We went done to the income tax.
So we have two hands raised up. I request Mr. Haresh to kindly ask his question.
Sir, my question is, in a voluntary liquidation, solvency certificate is given, is no claims as per balance sheet when paper publication is given. And subsequently, there's a huge demand from income tax department, which is the company cannot able to make payment. Say it's around 5 crores. When the company is not able to make payment, it is no more solvent company. So how to come out of solvency to regular company? They appointed as paper, everything happened. Now they don't want to proceed because the demand may go to appeal up to Supreme Court. It may take 5 to 6 years. As liquidator, my appointment, I'll be stuck in this appointment. So how to come out? Can I file IA, suspend the voluntary liquidation, go give back to the directors?
Ranjit sir.
This question is very difficult questions because beyond this IBC. So, sir, expert opinion of.
So, sir, Haresh sir, please post your question either on the IPNet site or chat box. We will answer.
Okay, here, there is an answer to this. There are two ways it can be proceeded. If the shareholders are ready to pay the demand, then a person can extend the voluntary liquidation period till the time the demand are not crystallizing. So there is, as per new regulation, as per regulation, there are time period of 90 or 270 days. So he can prepare status report and extend the voluntary liquidation process till the time it is not crystallized. Because I have seen in the cases orders, till the time clearance is not obtained from the income tax department, sales tax, RBI, NCLT benches are not passing resolution order. And in fact, they are giving direction also to settle the issue. Second is, there is a provision in the voluntary liquidation regulation. Just a minute, if I'm able to make out, I will find it out. That says that if the liquidator is of the opinion that liability of the company is more, then he can file a petition in the with the NCLT for withdrawal of this thing. I think I've replied the things.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's why I prefer not to reply because I also think about that.
May I submit?
So this is the beauty of this forum, that in case, so more, I mean, it is more of a round table that we are doing instead of a webinar, and I'm so delighted that all of you are actively engaged in the discussion. Thank you, Dilip sir, for your knowledge.
One point to share is that,
Yeah, may I raise one question in the matter?
Just a moment, sir. We have Mr. Sandeep Kothari waiting for his question. Sandeep.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. So in my case, after 60 days of public announcement, we got a claim from PF and ESIC departments. They started the inspection and assessment, etc. This is delaying the process because they keep on asking some details of the others, the ledgers and this, that, and all. How do we handle this?
So, Ranjit sir, question is, after 60 days, if PF, ESIC will come and start inquiring about the case, what to do?
Actually, there is a Supreme Court decision also. There is no need to wait for the claims comes from the government department. If you are aware about that certain amount is due, then you have to pay certain amounts to the authorities. So there is no hurdle on this. I think we should pay any time before the winding of the company.
So they are raising claims for the period when the company was not having any operations. And we are trying to prove to them that there are no operations and no employees itself.
Please repeat.
So what Mr. Kothari is saying, so that PF, ESI people, they are raising claim for the period where there were no operations.
So we have to look on the merit of this.
So it has to be on merit. Has to be on merit based. And there cannot be a
If certain people is claiming through this form, then we can do. But if they are not applying through form and only asking through private channel, so this is the liberty of the I think liquidator to accept or not. I think they should reject. This amount is not. If this amount is to be paid to the government authority, then we have a Supreme Court guidelines. But if this amount is paid to the private person, so this is the liberty of the liquidator. So I think liquidators reject this claim.
So
if not,
we reject and go to NCLT again, would we not face issues there?
Yes, because
in a way,
because they have not they have not come through claim. So
they have filed the claim form, sir, but it came after 60 days, after the 30 days period of claim filing, it came to us. And
we can take it. We can take it after 30 days. There's no hurdle on that, in my opinion. Other person may please intervene.
So we can reject this and go to NCLT saying that it was not a valid claim.
That is the challenge here, sir. See, when it comes to PF and other governmental, we are voluntary liquidators. Voluntary liquidators should act not, see, you cannot just go and ask, it's not like normal liquidation of CIP process where you go direct them to approach NCLT. It doesn't work in the voluntary. So whatever we have to do is immediately send letters and ensure that we have taken appropriate care. Then again, if they are delayed, then you need not, refer. By any chance, after 60 days, in spite of we giving a notice by letter and also the public announcement, again, if there is a delay, let them go. And you need not be over. Only thing is this, that's what I was trying to convey. It is lot of pre-planning is required when it comes to voluntary liquidation. Not that we just start it and take off, and it doesn't work like that. If at all, it comes with a lot of pain later on. So
these letters were already sent on the date of appointment of liquidator itself, sir. We have already sent the communication to all the authorities. Yet they have sent the claim on 60th day and they are asking for n number of details from us. Now the problem here is today if I reject the claim, pay everything, distribute everything and go to NCLT, and tomorrow if the claim is put by NCLT, from where would we get the money to pay them? These are foreign shareholders, they will not give any penny after the funds are returned to them.
So what happens is then the directors will be held responsible. We are indifferent actually. We are in that case, if at all they approach NCLT to accept the claims, then you can say that the company's position will be negative. It is going against the declaration of solvency. Then it is a perfect case for putting back the normal position.
Sir, I request everyone to please stick to the normal problems which are being faced by all of us instead of any particular problem. And moreover, I am very sure that Shankar sir is always available to give his legal opinion on that.
Because in the voluntary liquidation process, all decisions have to make by a liquidator only. Yes. So there is no intervention of the NCLT or another regulatory authorities.
Right.
So bit difficult to face some challenges.
The case to case things are different, right? The one person with name as KS. Sir, you were probably willing to ask some question.
Yeah. That was actually somebody my learned friend has stated that in case of the income tax liability was observed subsequently and then date will be more than the reserve or equity. In such circumstances, it will not fall into the insolvent company instead of solvent. And if such situation is there, then voluntary liquidation will be withdrawn. But where there is a provision to apply to the NCLT for withdrawal, so there is a question arise to me. How there is a nowhere in the IBC.
So, sir, what you are asking is there any provision in the IBC to approach NCLT for withdrawal of voluntary liquidation?
Yeah.
This question.
I think at any stage they can withdraw the case.
Even I think, as per my experience, if you want to withdraw, you again call the general meeting because it was initiated by the members. So again, you call the members meeting and then you can withdraw.
Only with a resolution of the stakeholders.
Or otherwise, adjudicating will not entertain. I think so. In between, you feel
but if you have submitted your application for the binding of the company to the NCLT, then we have to approach to the NCLT.
If you have 59, you have already filed, then definitely be withdrawal for you again. But corporate the persons, you have to take permission first for withdrawal. Then voluntary liquidator will withdraw the application for 59.
Yes, of course. But
So
there is some
that was
practical
confusion
difficulties
created in
this
my mind.
area.
Whether
you-
in between, whether you can approach the NCLT for withdrawal.
So there is some practical difficulties in this area. If you sold all assets and liquidate all assets and kept it escrow account, and after you distribute all this to the stakeholders, then how can this how can you divide your company after that?
Yeah,
So
there is
the
a
thinking of the
possible. Practically,
stakeholder
we have
committee.
done. Practically, we have done. After complete, there was the planning also people are doing. With the, after distribution, they will again call the meeting, and at the time of final report, the stakeholder or shareholder will say, okay, we don't want to pass the resolution for the further procedure. So then it will be stopped there. So now the company will remain as it is. Money will be distributed.
So they have to mention all these circumstances and facts to on this resolution only. How can the company revive? How can we recollect the funds distributed to the shareholders and other?
They are not required to recollect. It was distributed, is distributed. But now the company will not be dissolved. Company will not be finally dissolved.
Sir,
yeah, in my opinion, all it depends
Sir,
upon
may
the
I?
stakeholder decision.
Sir, may I?
Yeah.
Sure, sir, please.
Sir, I have come across one form H yesterday itself only, posted on some other group, where that is a form for withdrawal from corporate voluntary liquidation account. And that is saying that under regulation 39, sub-regulation 7 of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, a voluntary liquidation process regulation 2017. So yesterday itself only I came across that form. Form H is there, where they have made a provision to withdraw the voluntary liquidation. That is what I understand.
Yes. Correct.
Hemant bhai, that is not the form for withdrawal. That is the, say, in what you call voluntary liquidation process. If you cannot identify the stakeholder to whom the money is due, then that money is to be deposited with IBBI, the voluntary liquidation account, and from there withdrawal is that particular form, sir.
Basically, if at all you are not able to send the money or deposit the money into the account which is given by the particular claimant, then you are supposed to put it to the corporate voluntary account. That is what is talking about that, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. I agree with you.
Maybe, sir, this is what yesterday I just came across. So I just say that there is some.
No,
But anyhow, I already posted that NOC circular on the chat box.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, does it mean that seeing the issues like after distributing the money, the demand from IT and all, is it advisable to hold on to the distribution till the IT NOC is received?
Ranjit sir, can we hold the money for distribution unless we receive any demand from income tax? I mean, I don't agree with that because we don't know whether demand is there or not. Process has
No, but
gone.
as per company's records, there is a demand of say around 5 lakhs, but the available asset is to the extent of 5 crores. So in that case, the demand may be given more. It may be coming in future also. Considering all this, till the IT matter is resolved, shall we hold back or the distribution of the amount?
So, ma'am, I would like to invite your attention to what Mr. Shankar Panikar sir has told us that fine, it is already into voluntary liquidation. It is there, but before starting the entire process, let us be very honest and meticulous in our planning for filing voluntary liquidation application, or before moving ahead with the plan of voluntary liquidation. We have to be, we have to analyze the balance sheet critically so that all the liabilities which are there, which may arise, which are already in the process of being materialized, should be planned very meticulously so that we don't land into the soup. Right, sir?
Right. Actually, the first the first thing is that in the beginning, we have to look that the company is solvent and able to pay the debt. So we have to calculate all debt. First thing that. Second thing is that if we have income tax dues and we are not able to pay that dues, so what is the purpose of holding this small amount? And if you hold a small amount, then how you complete it in some timely manner? So this is not practicable, feasible to hold some small amount for the waiting of large amount. This is not possible and not looking possible right now. So in my opinion, either we should withdraw the case or look the funds. If we have funds to pay the income tax, then okay. Otherwise, withdraw this case. Please continue, sir.
Shankar sir.
To that,
Here, I think no need to withdraw or no need to hold the money also, because when the decision is taken for the voluntary liquidation, declaration of solvency has been given by the promoter directors.
Yes.
So basically, if there is any liability arises in future, they already gave the declaration. So no need to hold the money at all to comply the 90 days timeline.
I have a difference of opinion in that case, because assuming, according to what I could understand from Madam's queries, company has asset, maybe in the form of bank account, lying in the bank account or something, but waiting for the PF department or the income tax departments to give us a clarity. Now, ideally, what I have done in my cases, I have constantly followed up with PF people. In my case, there was PF, GST, and also income tax. What I did was, I had some substantial money. I paid a bit of it, a bit meaning about 60% I distributed, and I held a contributory meeting saying that, look, I'm not going to distribute everything at this point of time, because there could be a chance that PF people can come up with lot of bombs, or else they'll say that you bring the document to stand, we don't have it with us, ours is in hard form, now it is only your liabilities from some 10-15 years back, if at all you have proof that you have paid PF, please bring it. So at that point of time, I was in a position that I could not get the information from the company because all of them were dead and gone. So I said, sir, then please give a claim, please give us an amount so that we can finalize it. So thereafter, constant follow-up, I got this thing. So assuming I had 100 rupees, I paid 60 to the contributories, and met in the contributories meeting, I've requested them that, look, your money is in the account only. I'm waiting for PF and GST people to give a green card, green signal. And it was a constant follow-up. And it happened about 3 months' time. They gave a letter. I paid without even, because I had the concurrence of the contributory saying that let's all these liabilities be paid off. Otherwise, what will happen is, as just now the learned sir said, it will fall on the directors. It will fall on the contributory. So therefore, they don't want to take a hit. And thereafter, I paid the entire money, and distribution was given in the balance, whatever it was left out, it was distributed. That is the way we should handle it. We can always, when it comes to IBC, friends, my feeling is, I don't know about other parts of the country, when it comes to this part, I taken a very strong way. Yeah? This is a substantially powerful law. You cannot hold it for this, a time-bound process. If at all you are not able to give it in writing. I will handle it properly. So that sort of attitude is actually going to help to complete the process as soon as possible. Thank you, Baraji.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for bringing.
I would like to share my experience also. Similar way, for income tax, we had obtained 178 certificate from the income tax department that your liability is crystallized of say 100 rupees. We kept 200. I kept 200 rupees and distributed the proceeds to the stakeholders. So that is a practical view, and yes, it has to be followed. Thank you.
Moving forward, sir, Ranjit sir, I have some questions from the participants. If you allow me, I'll ask one by one, and probably these questions which I'll be asking will cover the entire gamut of this topic that we are discussing on that. Ranjit sir, can I ask few questions?
Yeah, please.
Okay, sir, there is a question that somebody is asking that, can you share your experience where delay by stakeholders or regulatory approval impacted your liquidation process? I mean, there might be some cases with you wherein there is a delay on account of non-cooperation by stakeholders or because of non-approvals by regulatory authorities.
Actually, we have no experience, but particularly in this voluntary liquidation, that a stakeholder has delayed, because this is a very much interest of the stakeholders to liquidate this company and winding up the company on time. First thing is that. Second thing is that, of course, there is a huge 3 or 4 years delayed by Jaipur NCLT bench. And of course, they realize, and after that, they exclude all times which have taken during the course of their legal position, and they cleared the matter and passed order in our favors. So there is much more than 4 years, I think, delayed by NCLT bench Jaipur.
Right, sir.
And there is 1 or 2 years delayed by NCLT Chennai bench. So there is a delayed by bench, NCLT bench, but not delayed by any stakeholder, particularly in this case, and no non-cooperation by a stakeholder, particularly in voluntary liquidation. There is a non-cooperation in a CIRP matter, of course, but not in this case. Thank you.
There is a question. There is hand raised by Mehta sir. Hemant Mehta sir, would you like to ask something?
Yes, sir. In my one of my case, the bank is not in a bank that is Axis Bank, I can say. He is not, they have not closed the account. So what I did, I have distributed the entire process by stating that the whatever balance is there in the bank, the minimum balance is there, that will be distributed to one of the stakeholder when the account will be closed. Now this is being pending since more than 2 years. Because of NCLT again again and again requesting the bank to close the account, but bank is not in a position to, they are not closing the account. And then last time when hearing took place, the NCLT has refused to give me that you close the account and you as a liquidator you pursue the account, because we time and again we cannot just say banker, otherwise everybody will come on our head and they will everybody will take a order from us to close the account, like this type of direction. So this is a unique experience which I would like to share.
So again, sir, there are no
Actually,
SOPs with the bankers. So
Reply,
we
just
have
a
to
minute.
have. So,
One
Ranjit sir,
minute.
yeah.
I would like to reply in this matter.
Yes.
Actually, bank has some online systems and online process. So they only follow their online process. So if anybody want to close their account, this is not dependent upon our order, but they have to visit the branch or bank and follow the process. Then only could able to close the accounts. So that's my point.
So, sir,
So there has been
what
more than about 15-20 attempts to go to branch and close the account, but somehow they said that you bring the order of the court specifically directing us to close the account, and here court is saying that we will not issue the order. The problem is that
I also would like to take a practical this thing. If the shares are in demat form, then when we commence voluntary liquidation, we write to depositories that can freeze those shares in depositories. Because once the claim is submitted, I cannot change the claimants because as per the BANPOS. But NCLT is not following this, and they say that please bring NCLT order first. But then I specifically took help of one of our IP who is on the board of National Depositories and convinced them that in the case of voluntary liquidation, NCLT order follows. That is the last thing. So you should not insist on freezing of the depository's account, insist on the NCLT order and freeze the depository's account on the basis of the details provided by the liquidator, that is resolutions and advertisement and appearing on the MCA website and all. So this is also a practical difficulty, and still we are facing difficulty in once the liquidation process is over in extinguishing the ISI number. But again, it is a learning process over a period of time. This will streamline.
So, sir, what I can vouch now after one and a half hour of our discussion, voluntary liquidation is not easy. As Mr. Ranjit said in the beginning, it is one section with a huge load of things to be handled. There is a question regarding, in the chat box, is there any special form for getting NOC regarding tax liabilities or tax demands from income tax department?
No,
And
nothing.
it was asked by Mr. Harvinder Singh Dhami, and believe me, I have already written it in here in my register that there should be standardized NOC formats available with the respective departments so that there is no lag. There is, I mean, this delay in process is avoided. No standard format is still there. So this is one.
IBC has not provided any standard
No, sir,
format.
it's not a matter of IBC. When different acts have to provide NOC under their regime only. So that standardization of NOC format should be done in the respective departments. I mean, act is not required for that. Department should inform their field officers to issue NOC in the standard format.
Sir, why they need to give NOC? They should submit a claim within the relevant period. If you go and ask NOC, how many departments will approach?
Sir,
if a big company having a 10 states GST number, 10 places you have to go.
Normally,
It's not feasible. Actually, I already told you that I am submitted my reply to the and representation to the Chennai bench, and they accepted my reply, and they asked to submit only the application to the income tax department and give us acknowledgement of that application only. So they accepted our presentation. So it's not mandatory.
In this matter, one thing I want to share. Chandigarh bench already passed the order of liquidation. During the liquidation period, we discussed the claim of the income tax department. But income tax department filed and we filed all the notice to the income tax department. Then Chandigarh bench asked me if the income tax department not replied to my bench, then what we will do? If you have to pass the order, and they have passed the deduction order. After the deduction of the company, Chandigarh NCLT of income tax office is approaching me several times to me and saying कि मेरा टैक्स का डिमांड अभी भी बाकी है. मैंने कहा जब आपने किया नहीं अपने समय पे आपको नोटिस दिया सब कुछ दिया अभी तक वो हमें फॉलो अप कर रहे हैं. कंपनी डिजॉल्व हो गई. कंपनी डिजॉल्व हो गई. मैंने नोटिस दिया था.
संजय जी जी मतलब मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ ना कि बोलिए कि अब पछताए हो के जब चिड़िया चुगे खेत.
हाँ वही चीज है. तो मैंने अभी तक वो नोटिस दे रहे हैं मुझे. मैंने कहा आप एनसीएलटी से जाइए ऑर्डर रिवोक कराइए. मेरा पार्ट नहीं है ये.
Sir, let me share you one of my experience, though it is not related to voluntary liquidation, but it is, in fact, other day I was sitting with one of the additional commissioners in income tax in this region, and the lady was so frustrated with the kind of amendments which are not being made in the Income Tax Act so far as IBC regulations and provisions are concerned. I mean, they are not in tune with, they are not in sync with the IBC, and a lot of problems are being faced by field officers. So, I mean, just because amendments are not there in the Income Tax Act. So this problem is there. You see, you are getting information or notices or calls from Income Tax Department just because field officers are not aware of what to do. They are bound by the Act. They have to issue notices. Unless there is amendment, there is some precedence, there is any Supreme Court or High Court judgment which exonerate them from their duties which are there in the Act, they'll have to do that. And we'll have to face that tune. So,
even in compulsory liquidation, I have received a notice from the Calcutta, I think, VAT department. I've just ignored. What can I say? Just ignored it.
You can reply, but you cannot. I mean, what can you do? You don't have money to give them.
Yes.
All funds
Well, they
are
have completed
already
all process.
distributed.
What can you say about that?
Before filing the application of deduction, all funds are already distributed among the stakeholders, and we have no fund to distribute and pay the tax. Earlier, we have obtained the income tax NOC, but after filing the deduction application, they told we have demand.
Sir, once your SSC is extinguished, in case of individual, estate can be recovered. I mean, tax can be recovered from estate, but so far as company is concerned, it is extinguished as soon as it is dissolved. Shankar sir can highlight on that.
Yeah, so basically, it need not be looked at in a very strange thing because it's a government department. It doesn't work as we think. Therefore, What we need to ensure as a voluntary liquidator is especially government stakeholders. And if at all they are not claiming, then it is their responsibility, sir.
Yes.
None of the NCLTs or judiciary are supporting them anymore. Number one. Number two, assuming you followed the process to the extent possible, you have done it, and the company has been dissolved, as in the case of Sanjay sir now, let them go to the directors because they only said that it is
Yes.
let them go. Doesn't worry. Need not worry about.
Sir, if the application has not been decided and order has not been passed in NCLT, still we can pay, in my opinion. But once the order has been passed, we cannot do anything. Yes, sir.
For that matter, if you don't have money, that's what Sanjay sir's problem. If you don't have money, how will we pay? The answer is very clear. The question we should ask ourselves is whether
Ask from shareholder. Okay.
no, basically
Yes.
to ensure, because what happens is if at all voluntary liquidator has followed, if at all he has not followed, then it will be a challenge. So that's why I said the moment you are appointed, immediately send letters to whoever stakeholders, especially government stakeholders, and say that this is the cutoff and it's a time-bound process. This will be immediately. So I give in a very strong language and I get a reply immediately. Very, very strong language. Otherwise, simple language, just copy paste, it will not work with them. In fact, as late as last month, I got a letter. I was appointed as a company liquidator, 271 matter. I said, so I sent letters to the PF. So ESI replied, GST replied, but not PF. PF calls me 3 days after the cutoff date, saying that, look, we have got your letter, but you know how our department functions. We cannot claim it immediately. I said, you please take the risk, sir. I mean, I cannot wait for your department. Anyway, you are getting mouthful from the government, from the judiciary. If at all you are there, if at all you have a claim it before that is, and I will leave it to the official liquidator because it's a voluntary liquidation, I mean, liquidation under 271, and we will discuss in the winding up committee and get back to you. And you till now 1 month हो गया, अभी तक उन्होंने claim नहीं किया. I'm talking about government PF department. Let us not, simply put, let us not worry too much on that. Keep our process in place. Please follow our process. If our process is right, then nobody can hold us responsible. Let them write 100 mails. Doesn't bother. Because we have taken up the job based on the declaration of solvency. And if at all they have delayed, then it's their fault. I mean, even judiciary will be standing with us. Nothing to worry, sir.
In my one case, one thing I want to share. In one case, the company already approached the RD office for the compounding of offense for non-appointment of company secretary in year 2021. Still, RD not decided this matter and no compounding order passed till this date. Company under liquidation from November 23rd. But last month I approached RD and told him to pass the order as soon as possible because my liquidation process is delayed. अब RD साहब कहने लगे कि भाई साहब आप कैसे आ गए हमारे ऑफिस में. मैंने कहा कि कैसे नहीं आऊं, आपकी वजह से हमारी प्रोसेस डिले हो रही. तो इस तरह की बात हो रही है. गवर्नमेंट अथॉरिटी समझती नहीं चीज को और उसके वजह से ये इतनी डिले हुई जा रही है. 2 साल से ज्यादा हो गया बेटर, आज तक रिजॉल्व नहीं हुई. मैं कई बार ना उसका स्टेटस रिपोर्ट जो होता है IBBI में फाइल करके एक्सटेंशन हर 3 महीने का लिया जा रहा हूँ, रिपोर्ट करता जा रहा हूँ.
Sir, there is a practical solution to this.
Yes.
If you think that there is a compounding amount, if you think that some X amount is there, that money you can deposit under the voluntary liquidation account with IBBI and file your form. That if this thing is there, if this matter crystallizes, then I will be claiming this amount. Otherwise, or when the if it is not there, then let it lying with the IBBI only, and I have settled one matter in that manner, that way.
Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. Ravi Shankar to unmute himself and ask the question, sir?
Sir, these are two questions, sir. One is, did anybody I got one reference where in the voluntary liquidation, they wanted me to distribute the assets of the company, but somehow, of course, they did not materialize. So my first question is that did anybody distribute? Suppose the company has a land building kind of a thing, which they want us to distribute to shareholders. Did anybody do it? And in that case, how did they handle the stamp duty, income tax, all those issues? If anybody has done it, if you can please discuss, that's one thing. Second thing is that if the company has sold some assets in the previous year, and the filing of return for filing the income tax return, paying the income tax, there is a income tax utility which normally comes only in August, September somewhere. So how are they filing? So people are talking of paying it, but unless we file a return and all that, how are they handling it? These are my
So,
questions only. If somebody
Ranjit
can.
sir,
First point, somebody may
first
please.
point is regarding the fact that the company is having some assets and they want to distribute among themselves. How would they do? How would they do that? Ravi said, this is right.
That's true, sir. That's true.
So
So
it
you want
is, yeah, I have done these things, and there is a precedent of what do you call it is a form of investment, and it is done in Star Healthcare matter, which is a listed company now. So before the company was listed, the matter is done that way. And in normal costs, there is whatever tax and stamp liability is there, that is payable. But yes, very important thing, when you pass the resolution, EGM resolution, you have to capture this thing. I have handled this thing. If you want, you can do the things.
Ravi Shankar sir, you can get in touch with Dilip Jagar sir. He's there. You
Second
can
point,
exchange your numbers in the chat box, sir. He'll help
Sure,
you.
sir. Sure, sir.
second
Thank
point
you.
is that regarding, as far as second point is concerned, if you are not able to file the income tax due to non-availability of the form, and if you are submitting your application to the NCLT, so you need not to file form if you don't have any tax liability. But if you have tax liability, you can still file after the submission of form also. It all depends upon the NCLT order. It has no statutory your duties to file.
No, sir, but
income
no,
tax
after the NCLT order, I am no more a liquidator anymore. No, because when the company dissolves, so who will file the
No,
returns
before
then?
the rules. I'm talking about at the time of filing application to the NCLT, and before the getting order from the NCLT, you can file applications to the income tax. And if you have no tax, then no need to file income tax return.
No, sir. Supposing there is no, what I said is that supposing I'm appointed in the month of say January or say in the month of April. So the company has done some sale of assets during the month of January, February, March, for which they have to file a return. Unless they file the return, so they're ready to pay the tax. But paying tax has to be followed up with the filing of return, which can be done only somewhere in August, September.
No, you can file before August also.
No, before that, unless the utility comes and all that, we can't file the return. No, sir. How will you file it? There's no manual filing now.
So this is very practical things, and you can say, because I think nowadays the file is opened in April, May or June itself.
Sir,
So
the
practically you
problem,
can file otherwise.
Ranjit sir, if you are able to deposit the amount of liability of tax, that is the main issue that may arise, because tax dispute might be there, tax demand might be there if you don't deposit it before 31st
Just
of
get
March.
tax after your calculation.
Before filing application before Honorable NCLT, at the most what we can do is we can deposit the amount of tax which is due on the transaction.
Yes. And you can still file if the application is pending to the NCLT, then you can still file the return.
Yeah. And this is extremely a very peculiar and particular problem which may arise to liquidators who are appointed before July, and transaction relates to previous financial year. Utilities are not there, how to file the return, but you can deposit the tax. Tax deposit is an issue.
Practical situation. This is the main fundamental.
This is a practical situation. That
No, sir. The issue is that so we'll file the tax as per our computation. Suppose the department comes back with some small amount of interest
the
penalty.
department has got 10 years to reopen your case.
So that is
because
so
wait
that
for
you
that.
need
if the order comes in your
Order comes
favor by
after devolution,
NCLT,
it
just
has
ignore all
got
this
no
thing.
value, sir.
That is true. That's
Right.
true, sir.
Right, sir.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So any other participant who want to contribute in this discussion?
Sir, one of my unique experience where the assets was, the assets was there, but it was not liquidable. In the sense that there was a fixed deposit in the bank of say very negligible, 25,000 or 50,000. Okay. And it was backed by some guarantee which was been given to state government. Now, unless that original paper of guarantee is received, you cannot close the FD. So in that case, ultimately we have to call the stakeholders meeting. All the shareholders agreed to write it off, and then we went ahead in the matter. Otherwise, it was not. It was very difficult for us to close the sell the assets, just for sharing for the benefit of members.
Thank you, Heman sir, for being so out forward and sharing your experience with us, sir.
Just have one small question, please.
Yes,
If
ma'am. Sonu ma'am, please.
can help us. Sir, I am in a voluntary liquidation matter. Earlier at the onset of the matter, I was told there will be no claims. But while we were doing the matter, we came to know there was some, after the liquidation, we got voluntary liquidation commenced. We got some appeal notices from departments and we had to go in appeal. So now it's more than 1 year. So is there any problem if we are waiting to settle our dues with statutory authorities if we have exceeded 1 year in voluntary liquidation?
Ma'am, Ranjit sir, if I'm not wrong, exclusion can always be
Totally
from
there.
honorable
You
NCLT.
can apply for exclusion of days, and NCLT will exclude their days.
Means at the time of dissolution, I have to ask for the exclusion because I don't know now how long will this take.
Madam, in such situation, you need to conduct the contributories meeting first and intimate to the IBBI. This is the requirement. And when you file the Form H with the NCLT at the time of the liquidation, just update them that you conducted the contributory meeting because the delay was there, intimated to the IBBI, and compliance is done properly.
I have been taking the contributories meeting, but I have not done the reporting to IBBI. So I think
Just write one mail. Just write one mail to them.
After completion of the time, we have to approach to the NCLT.
Let us not go to NCLT. Let's not start some new business. I mean, NCLT, probably you will be putting them also into trouble. Voluntary liquidation doesn't warrant going to NCLT for each and everything. As simple as that.
Sir, I have one point. Generally, voluntary liquidation assignment we took on the turnkey basis because CIRP monthly fees is clarified. Sometimes it happens that we expect the within 6 months, 9 months, and if it is dragging to 2 years, 3 years, and management is also ready to do the escalation clause to pay the additional fees to the liquidator. So in such situation, whether question number 1, whether liquidator should ask for the additional fees, if yes, then how to proceed practically, whether to intimate to the IBBI because that 1% we need to pay again for me. Is there any practical view?
Yes, sir, please. You are the competent person to reply.
Sir, with respect to IBPI fees, you have to pay on a receipt basis. So if say you have received 1.5 lakhs, so you pay 1,500 rupees. And say after 1 year again you are taking 1 lakh rupees, you again pay 1,000 rupees. So as far as IBPI 1% fees is concerned, there is no issue.
Absolutely, because what happens is the essence is we have the clarity of how much money we can get it. So if at all you are rich enough, you can pay on accrual basis or else receipt is fine.
It's accrued basis, not on receipt basis. Is it right?
No, accrual is not possible. Receipt basis only. Only thing is that we already intimated because this number of forms are there, different forms we need to file. So already all the clarification is given. Now this is because client understand the matter was supposed to completed within 1 year and it is dragging 3 years. So they are ready to compensate. So at that time, we cannot reopen the liquidation forms also. And mere intimation of the IBBI is also difficult in such situation, practically.
At that point, say at a fine day, one fine day, your liquidation will come to an end. No, at that point of time, you disclose, that is enough. All these things will not be a big issue because at the end of the day, we are transparent, sir. I mean, I don't think there's a violation. Great.
Sir, moving forward, I'd ask one question with Ranjit sir, which I have received. So what advice would you give to an IP handling their first voluntary liquidation case? सर जो पहला वॉलंटरी लिक्विडेशन के अंदर मुझे करना है तो आप क्या एडवाइस देंगे, मुझे क्या क्या चीजों का ध्यान रखना चाहिए?
First, look that company is solvent, company is no pending litigations. Before the starting of this, your FA is मतलब okay, it's क्या बोल इसको मतलब आपका it's your FA is applicable, and third is that you have to caution before all. You have to prepare a checklist first of thing. Before appointment of at any company, you have to make a checklist on timelines. First thing. Second thing, maintain all timelines and prepare your preliminary report on time. And very caution matter, because this is the first documents we have to submit to the IBBI. So before do all things have to do yourself. If possible, then get expert advice and list out of the creators if any, and open account on timely escrow account, list out creators, list out your properties, sold your property on the manner prescribed in Act, like online bids, etc. Take deposit and prepare list of the person you have contributory. And before that, first thing is that you have to prepare a stakeholder committee if there is a stakeholders. So prepare a stakeholder committee, convene meeting, and put all information, all resolution to the pass resolution from the stakeholders. But in my cases, we don't have any stakeholder because there is no asset. Most of the cases, our asset involved are liquid natures. So I have not faced any situation where there is a stakeholder committee. But yes, if there is a stakeholder committee, so first call the stakeholder committee meeting and pass resolutions and get approval for your assets, your liabilities. Okay, prepare list as per section 35 and section 37. 35 is a duty of the liquidator, and I think prepare list as per section 37 of this act. So prepare list and dispose your assets. Briefly, I am telling, dispose your assets, deposit all liquid fund to your bank account, and distribute as per the preferential as per preference. Okay, and then prepare final reports. And basic caution has to take on filling and preparing Form H, because Form H is the main thing. NCLT हमेशा Form H मांग लेते हैं, Form H दिखा दो, and they took decision as per Form H. So in my opinion, you have to go through all process as per regulations, and of course take Form H, take NOC from banks or from NCL, from Income Tax Department or from any other authority if possible. Otherwise, send the application or letter to the authorities and put your acknowledgement and attach that acknowledgement to the application filed to the NCLT. So do all process on time, and ultimately you have to face the NCLT, and whatever NCLT directs, follow that, and I suppose NCLT will close your matter. So this is brief.
Right,
Can
so,
I ask one question?
yeah, please, ma'am.
During the discussion, I understand that we have to make a pre-plan before taking this assignment.
Yes.
But then, before I am appointed as the voluntary liquidator in the board meeting itself, whether I should access to the all the records and also the logins of income tax, GST, etc., whether I am allowed to do this or not. How do I plan this?
Yes, I'll answer. I'll try to attempt. Madam, it doesn't work like that. What I'm trying to say that If at all the board approaches you, you some very important questions to them. Just ask them whether when is your is a financial audited books of accounts, I mean, audited financials are ready, whether there is any pending claim, what is the position of security, unsecured. All those things will, that prompting questions will, you will get certain information whether this is, for example, what is the position of income tax, GST, PF, ESI. That itself will give you a comfort level whether these people are very strong or in the sense whether there is any due. Based on that, your risk appetite, you can, you can take a decision. That's what I was trying to convey. Meaning, for example, you understand that there is a liability which is just to avoid that liability, this voluntary liquidation is being triggered. You can always suggest that in that case, you please clean up your balance sheet, then go ahead for a. Otherwise, what will happen is the directors will be held responsible. If at all there is no sufficient assets, that sort of advisory also you can give. Before starting of voluntary liquidation, just ensure that you make all those things. Otherwise, if the assets are lesser than liability, then it will fall on your head. That's the way we have to convey to the directors, board of directors. So that will give you more, then we can see how these people are reacting. I've seen and I've seen how people change decision. And in a couple of cases, they decided to defer a voluntary liquidation for a year or so and trigger. Now they finished it in no time.
Yeah, I don't think that director will provide the passport ID before you are appointed as a liquidator. I don't think so.
Nobody will be. Nobody
Yes.
will.
Yes, that is.
You should not accept also unless that comes as an assignment, a professional assignment as to you. I mean, then of independent will hit it. You don't accept that things, ma'am. They will feel so comfortable and they may give you all the credentials, but you should not, according to me, not take it. The moment you access it, theoretically, you are not, independent. Then if you are not independent, you cannot take up the voluntary.
Yes, that is what I feel.
Shankar sir, what I understand from your deliberation is that you should have confidence building measure before you take up this assignment.
Absolutely.
It has to be there.
Excellent articulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this will be a pain.
Yeah, it will be a pain. Right.
Nowadays, IBB are very strict, and you can face a adverse situation. If anything, we face violation of any regulations. So we take all this violation, because once I met joint secretary at MNC and asked about the difficulty facing with IP facing. So that's just simple answer that do as per your regulation and submit all report on time. That's your duty and nothing to fear beyond that.
I'll just take only just 10 seconds. Countdown starts now. If at all somebody want to start voluntary liquidation and that particular person is not able to give a clarity as to the liability, there is always section 271 wherein you can go ahead and approach the NCLT tribunal to start provisional liquidation and then company liquidation, as long as your intention is not to defraud the creditors. And you can get professional fees also. That is also possible under it's not just the voluntary liquidation alone. Yeah, thank you.
So friends, we are at the end of this webinar, and to summarize our discussion, though it is not required, the kind of deliberation which is being done by Shankar sir, along with Ranjit sir and few other members like Dilip sir and Hemant ji, though there is no need to summarize, but still, what I feel after this discussion is, so a lot of practical difficulties are there. Law is evolving as usual. So in order to face those difficulties, we should first of all, before accepting any assignment of voluntary liquidation, study the law, the regulations thoroughly and deeply, and we should take legal advice before moving ahead in case we don't find solution or we find difficulty in the regulation or law. Now, coming back to creditors, the directors or shareholders, as rightly said by Shankar sir, before accepting any appointment as voluntary liquidator, let us have confidence CBM with them, with the people on the other side of the table. Let us have a look at the balance sheet, audited balance sheets for at least 4 or 5 years. Try to have login ID passwords of government authorities, I mean, their income tax, GST, PF, ESI, in order to verify the liabilities if they exist on the portal. And let us prepare in advance for any eventuality that we can imagine, that we can foresee before accepting this assignment. And in case you still find difficulty, go again and see this webinar, which is recorded and will be posted on the IPNet website. You'll get the questions, you'll get the answers, which we are dealing since last 1.5 hour, and probably you'll get the answer. Still, if you don't find answer, please post your queries on IPNet website, and we'll certainly revert back to you with your queries and with the legally tenable answers. We'll try to do that. We have a team of experts here who will take care of your difficulties, and this forum is actually meant for this only. So I thank you all from the core of my heart.
Really, I am also very thankful to the all members.
Ranjit sir,
Yeah.
आपको तो हमें thanks कहना है.
No,
Give me a
it's
moment,
really
give me a
thankful
moment,
to
sir.
all members, and really a very lively atmosphere here. So I
Thank you.
really delighted. I have taken presentation at many forum, but of course this forum is very lively, and I am delighted to say that very great forum.
And I must
really
inform all the
obliged
members, a lot
to
of
the IPNet.
slides are there with
Thank
Ranjit
you
ji
very
to
much.
be shown. But I took this webinar into the discussion type of thing so that we can all enjoy the topic and share the knowledge which we have gained over a time period of time so far as well.
Actually, one thing I have to say, this is from the bottom of heart that the presentation should be that lively and that based on that practical examples. Most of the presentation is based on the PPTs. So I don't like that. And really, I am very delighted and very humble on that.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank you very
Very
much. And
practical
now,
and very lively. Thank you.
friends, please now allow me to present a certificate of appreciation in electronic format. It will be certainly sent to you in physical form, Ranjit sir, duly
Thank you.
in due course. Please allow me to share that on the screen. So we thank you for your time and experience that you have shared, and at least you have
Thank you very much. Thank you.
all of us on this platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, I'll ask you. I'll invite you, sir. And formal vote of thanks will be accorded by IP Sonu Gupta, ma'am. Ma'am, please do the honors, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Good evening, friends. Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to extend the vote of thanks for today's webinar. Today's event has been a good learning experience for all of us so far as the problem faced in the process of voluntary liquidation is concerned. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our distinguished keynote speakers, IP Ranjit Kumar ji, IP Ranjit Kumar Verma ji, for sharing his profound insights and practical perspectives in the conduct of voluntary liquidation. Thank you, Mr. Verma, for sharing your time, your wisdom, and your experience with us. I would like to express my gratitude to our IPNet president, Mr. Ashish Makhija ji. Ashish sir, your commitment and visionary leadership have made IPNet an exemplary initiative and a platform of great significance for insolvency professionals pan-India. Thank you, Ashish sir, for being a guiding light to all of us. We can actually call you our Dronacharya. We are learning so much from you from far. And Ashish sir, you have a very important role to play in our learning journey. A special note of appreciation goes to IP Parag Singhal, General Secretary of IPNet, for successful conduct of this webinar. Thank you, Parag sir. Your valuable insights and the smooth conduct of the webinar have greatly enhanced today's discussions. Special thanks to the invaluable contributions of transition and the technical support teams. Their seamless coordination and tireless efforts behind the scenes ensured smooth conduct of this webinar. Our gratitude to all the participants who joined us today. Your enthusiasm, active engagement, and thought-provoking contributions have truly made this event special. And last but not the least, our sincere thanks to Suhasini Madam for taking out time from her ongoing course for ensuring the success of the webinar. Thanks to all once again. And I also give my special thanks to Hemant Mehta ji, to Pramod Ladda ji, to Shankar Panikar ji for being part of our teaching journey today. Thank you so much. We have really learned a lot from your inputs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sonu ma'am. Now I again request you to please declare the incoming webinar to be held by IP West.
That's correct. That's correct. There is a next week. There is an webinar. Just a second, please, sir.
So friends, we have next webinar on 19th of April 2025, which will be held
Yes.
by IP West. Ma'am will
Yes.
declare the topic on that.
Yes, sir. The West Zone IPNet is going to hold this webinar on 19th of April. The topic will be my experience with cross-border insolvency. And to contribute to the webinar, we will have Gagesh Jain ji, and tentatively we have Mr. Navneet Kumar Gupta ji. So friends, kindly join in for this webinar and enrich yourselves. 19th April. Topic, my experience with cross-border insolvency. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonu ma'am. And I humbly convey my sincere regards to all of you for joining us. Sincere thanks to Shankar sir for taking forward this journey in a very meticulous way and showing us way forward so far as voluntary liquidation are concerned. So let us meet again on 19th of April 2025 at 4 o'clock. The details of the webinar will be shared in due course. Thank you all.